Ay, gracias. Mira, nos sacó la vida.
broadcasting issue. As you know, we don't have our IT gentleman here, so if you would be so kind to open the meeting and take a very brief recess, we should be up and running soon.
Okay. Welcome to the City of West Miami. Today is our regular commission meeting of Wednesday, December 6, 2017. We are opening the meeting and also taking a recess for about 5 minutes until the city clerk comes back. We have amending something on the agenda at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're ready,
Okay.
We're ready, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Good evening again. Welcome to the City of West Miami Regular Commission meeting, Wednesday, December 6, 2017, at 7:45. While the clerk make some corrections on the agenda, we're going to start with some items that were in the agenda to begin with. For the invocation, Ms. Aguilar.
Thank you. Please rise. And let's bow our head this evening and thank the Lord as we come to the end of 2017 for our countless blessings, for your presence in our lives. And tonight we pray for peace and unity and ask you to intercede by strengthening us in faith and goodwill towards others. May we as a community find ways to become tolerant and understanding of each other. We pray for our world leaders so that they can govern effectively. We pray for all of our law enforcement officers and firefighters, and we ask you to keep them out of harm's way. We pray for our military forces abroad so that they can safely return home to their families. Tonight, we pray for all the victims affected by crime, and especially tonight, our prayers are for those in California affected by fires and that have lost all of their lifelong belongings. We pray for the first responders who are tirelessly working to stop the fires and preserving life and property. And very special intention for tonight, God, we ask you to watch over Mr. Quintana, who's been hospitalized, and we pray for his speedy recovery. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Chief, for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Mayor Eduardo Muiña,
Present.
Vice Mayor Candida Blanca,
Yes.
Commissioner Juan Blanes,
Present.
Commissioner Rhonda Rodriguez,
Present.
Commissioner Luciano Suarez.
Yes.
Mayor, you have a quorum from staff, the manager, the city attorney, Jose Villalobos, and the city clerk are all present.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, At this time, shall we take any particular item out of order, or shall we follow the order of the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I would encourage you to consider taking some items out of order. We have some mitigation issues that I recommend we take one by one. And you have a public hearing on a special use permit for planned development. And so I encourage you to also consider taking that one right after the mitigations and then come back to the order of the agenda. You have members of the public here, and so that they don't have to sit through the entire meeting.
Okay, so can you read the first item, please?
We're gonna, we should take them out of the order of the agenda?
Please do.
Okay, Mr. Mayor. The first item under new business agenda item would be a resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a mitigation offer in the amount of, and it's blank, from SH Investment Partners LLC on a code enforcement liens for violations at the property located at 6416 Southwest 10 Terrace, West Miami, Florida, providing that if payment is not paid by blankety blank date, then the amount shall revert to the original amount as per the lien, providing for effective date. Mayor and City Commission, and Mr. Mayor and members of the City Commission, I would encourage us to hear from Mr. Penna on this violation, and then staff would be ready to issue a recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Penna.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. This property is on 10 Terrace. This is a house that for many years the city had problems with because of the way the additions were built. It was very easy to facilitate a multifamily situation. In fact, that was what it was cited for when the property went into foreclosure. And it remained like that for quite some time, and now the new person that has it before you tonight, they have completely eliminated all the illegalities and renovated the property and brought it into compliance. It is a very nice property today.
Thank you. Any representative from this property? Please state your name and address for the record and how you're speaking.
My name is Raymond Ferrer. I'm the attorney representing SH Investments.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, can we get you to speak into the mic
the
or
mic
put it
on.
up closer to you?
Sure,
Just so the record can reflect the information?
absolutely.
Thank you.
Once again, my name is Raymond Ferrer. I am the attorney representing SH Investments Partners. Just to continue on with what was being represented, this property had some violations before this property was purchased by my client, SH Investments. He said a bunch of renovations have been made. Actually, $100,000 have been put into this property. We're here to further mitigate current liens that have been set on this property. We think that for all the work that has been done to this property and the renovations that have been made, and for how quickly action was taken on the property, and we're here just to mitigate the amount and the balance that is due with these two liens, in the sense that it will be unfairly putting a pretty burden on the client here as we're trying to either sell it or dealing with the value of the property.
Okay. Any further comments? Not at this time? Okay. Mr. Pena, I have some questions, and then I have some questions for staff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just for the record, all the violations are being cleared?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's a
So-
beautiful home now.
Okay. Is this house, somebody living in the house already?
No, it's
or
vacant.
It's vacant at this time? And the intention is to sell the house, live in the house?
That's up to the corporation.
Okay, and what's the answer on that?
The intention is to sell the house.
To put it back in the market?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Madam Manager?
Mr. Mayor, I think we should yield to Mr. Penna and give us a little bit of history on the property itself and the violations so that we can put forward a recommendation.
As I stated before, the property was cited for many violations. Two of them was construction without permits, and the other one was for a multifamily. Over the period of time that the violation remained, it accumulated in excess of $90,000. At that point, S&H bought the property with the running fines on the property. They did go before the Code Enforcement Board back in November, and they reduced it from the existing fine down to 15%, which today I think it's between about $5,000 between both of them.
4,000, excuse me,
$655.
$655.
Correct. And as the board, the Code Enforcement Board advised them, they had the right to appeal that if they wished. That's why they're here tonight, for further mitigation.
Mr. Bennett, may I, Mr. Mayor? How long was the length of the violations?
The property's been in violation that I can remember, at least 6 years.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. One thing I wanted to point out, this property was purchased, I think, early of 2016, 1 month right after. My clients have taken instant action in this, and let's think about what my client has really done. Has taken this property, has put money into this property to put it out of compliance, has invested all this money in this property to put it back into compliance, okay? So for my client to now be having to pay money when the client was the one that actually put this property back, and that's what it's been used for. It hasn't been used as a multi-family home. It's
We
been
understand.
put back into compliance, and that's the whole point of this argument here.
We understand, we understand. At this point, Madam Manager, we need a recommendation.
Yes,
from-
Mr. Mayor, I know as difficult as it may be for all the parties involved here, we have a duty to recover the time spent on the file, and we need to keep in mind that, this property was depleting the resources of the code enforcement officer and the chief code enforcement officer, the clerk, the board, and all the inspections. And I believe that the board did a very good job at mitigating the running fines. And I believe that no further mitigation, it would be my recommendation to you that you keep the fine at what it is right now.
What's the total amount again?
The total amount of the fines is $4,655.
Okay.
Motion.
What's the motion? I was gonna make a motion to
motion is
uphold
that-
the decision of the Code Enforcement Board.
Which is the same amount that we're recommending. Yes, sir.
Is that your motion?
4,655.
Okay.
That's what she recommended. That's what it's recommended.
Second.
Okay. Any,
Call the question.
Could we at
We-
least respectfully object to the 18% interest rate that is accruing annually? There's no more work being done to this property here forward to be having to suffer. Meanwhile, we're trying to sell this property, or my client is trying to sell this property, for this lien to actually be accumulating at an 18%, I think is unreasonable in comparison to other cities, and to the fact that there's no more work being done here.
Mr. Attorney, I appreciate and I understand you got to defend your client, but I'll be very honest with you. We have a motion on the table. We got to proceed with it. And before we go, I'll give you my take on. This is a property that is for investment. Your client, with all due respect, bought it knowing that there was a fine, and I think the amount, and we're not in the business of making money over here, but we're not in the business of losing money either. And as a matter of fact, we haven't touched up on the fact that there's a history, and I know it's not part of your client history, but that's something that we take. We want this house to be back in the market. No have any further problems with the house, but I believe I think you got a good bargain, to be honest. So I have, with all due respect, I have a motion on the table. I need a second.
I second.
We have
Okay.
a second, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, call the vote, please.
Okay, Commissioner Rodriguez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca?
Yes.
Mayor Mujina?
Yes,
5-0, item passes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, there is a timeline that we need to fulfill for the payment. Generally, we give applicants anywhere from 30 to 45 days to pay the fine, and I would recommend that you keep that same schedule as we treat everyone else.
Okay, let's be,
45 days from today.
it's 45 days acceptable.
40, they paid in
Okay.
45 days.
All right,
With the understanding, Mr. Mayor, that if not
Can you
paid
turn
at-
on?
With the understanding, Mr. Mayor, that if not paid at that time, the fine would reverse to the original amount.
okay, understood?
The original amount is that, Mr. Villalobos. It's a $4,500. So the only thing that will get tacked on is the monthly 18%.
The 18%.
Okay,
So just to be clear, the 18% starts in 45 days, 30 days?
45 days from today if payment as approved by this commission is not made to the city. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
thank you.
Excuse me, you understood, right? You understood. You have 45 days to pay.
I understood I have 45 days to pay.
Perfect. Okay.
And then the 18% starts.
And if you don't pay in 45 days, we'll come back to the original.
No,
No,
it's
You
18%.
didn't understand. It's just, it stays at that amount, right?
That is correct.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item?
Next item, item 11B. This is a resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami authorizing the city
I have
manager.
to clarify something. I have to understand if the people doesn't pay in the time, goes back to the original amount, not the 18% over $4,000.
Mr. Pena, can you please clarify?
Yes. The original amount was in excess of
But
$90,000.
I think they understood the 18 over 4,000.
Because they're correct.
600.
But they're correct, Commissioner. That $90,000 went to the Code Enforcement Board. The Code Enforcement Board mitigated it down to the $4,500. That's the amount that was leaned against the property. not the 90,000, the
I'm
4,500.
talking about the 46,000.
Right, that was what was
Four-
leaned
no,
against
no.
the property.
4,600.
4,600.
No, 4,600 is the, well, we agree with him.
No, 4,600 is what was leaned to the property.
Yes,
It was the mitigated amount by the Code Enforcement Board.
was, but now we tell these investors, the mitigation is $4,655.
Correct.
If they don't pay in 45 days, comes back to the 46,000.
No, the 4,600 plus 18%. It's only the interest that's right now on hold for those 45 days.
So you just, we only put 18% over this amount.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay,
Item 11B, resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a mitigation offer in the amount of blank from Amanda Pernas on code enforcement lien for code violation at the property located at 6415 Southwest 13th Street, West Miami, Florida, providing that if payment is not in full is not paid by will be determined by this commission, then the amount owed shall revert to the original amount, providing for effective date, mayor and city commission.
Mr. Penna.
Mr. Mayor. The property at 6415 Southwest 13th Street was purchased in 2014. This property owner decided to replace French doors in the back, sliding glass doors in the back of the house with French doors, new French doors. But in the process of doing that, they didn't apply for a permit. And when it was discovered, they were cited, and then the file remained dormant until they finally pulled the permit in January of this year for the correct installation of the French door.
So the file accrued running fines,
That's
correct?
Correct.
Can you tell us the amount of the fines that they accrued from the time that the violation was issued?
I believe it was also around $89,000.
The total I have here is $9,093.37.
Correct.
Yes.
That's the mitigated amount by the Code Enforcement Board?
Correct.
And again, the only violation in this case was
The installation without a
the
permit.
installation without a permit of replacement of a door.
That's correct.
Is the person present here today?
I believe.
Can you state your name and address for the record and
Amanda Pernas, 6415 Southwest 14th Street. 13th Street, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I want to explain why it took me so long to take care of the situation. At the beginning of 2016, I lost my job. I was collecting unemployment. At the time, the mortgage company reviewed the amount in the escrow account and increased my mortgage payments by over $500 a month. I was looking for a job and couldn't find one, so I decided to retire so that I could have some sort of an income. In February, I received the letter from the code enforcement officer. I came to see him and I explained the situation, and I told him that I couldn't make the payment. I couldn't take care of the situation. I was concentrating on keeping up my mortgage payments at the time. So he said, as soon as you can, go ahead and do it. It took me a few months. But at the end of November 2016, I applied for the permit. The permit came out in January, and by that time I had accumulated all of that amount. The Code Enforcement Board reduced it, and I really appreciated it, but still at this point, over $9,000 of fine is a lot of money for me to come up with. I'll appreciate it if the mayor and the commission can further reduce the amount.
Thank you, ma'am.
Madam, how long have you been living at this property?
Since 2014, after I bought it.
Okay. Okay, and you've been there and you plan to,
I've been there.
this is your home, you plan to
this
stay
is-
there?
this
and
is my
reside
home.
there?
I really like West Miami. I've worked very hard improving the landscape. I have not been able to paint it, but it looks really nice in the front.
Thank you. And-
I also wanted to say, I have copies of my tax returns and my mortgage payment history to further support what I'm saying, if you'd like to review it.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, is that necessary?
The argument is very compelling, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I think that this is something that the board should take into consideration. I think that we all have been in that position at some point in our lives, and we should, if I was sitting there, which I'm not, I would do my best to further help the lady into recovery, because not only that it's an economic issue, but a psychological issue as well. And I think that it's very hard for a woman to lose a job and to be in that predicament.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may
Pe-
I? Go ahead.
I have a question for Mr. Penna. Mr. Penna, the only violation here is no permit.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. You know what, I make a motion to.
Wait. We have a
Oh,
comment.
I'm sorry.
I just want to make a comment that I know we pride ourselves on taking each situation on its own merit. And I understand this, like the one before us, went to code enforcement, it was lowered already. But I do believe we need to base our decision on this one, not the fact that of what we do with the last one. It needs to be looked at, based on its own merit.
And
So I'm in
before we make
agreement
a
with
motion,
the city
I
attorney.
want to hear from staff.
Mhm.
Madam Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I want to add something to this. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't. I happen to be your neighbor, right? My backyard faces your backyard. And I've only seen you this is, I think, the second time that I see you since you moved there. I gotta tell you, they're excellent neighbors. They bought a property that was not well kept because the lady that lived there before, which everybody knows her at some point, she was a longtime resident of the city. She also had difficulties in keeping up the property, and without going into details, this family came in and tried to clean up the property as best as they could, and I didn't know what had happened to you. But I gotta tell you, and I think I discussed it with you today, Mr. Blanes, Commissioner Blanes, with all due respect, $9,000, even after mitigation, I think it's kind of harsh for somebody who changed the door to try to improve the property.
Well, I have a motion.
Well,
Yeah, before you put the motion, I want to add something to the record. Something to the record. I'm not familiar with you. I'm not familiar with the situation, but I'm familiar with other situation because besides being the mayor, I'm an architect. I'm gonna ask a question to Mr. Penna. Mr. Penna, how much will be the permit cost on pulling a permit to change the door?
$130.
$130. Okay.
Of course, there's a bond involved until the work is finished. The $300 bond.
I understand. That's in a regular situation,
Correct.
okay? Keep that in mind when you make the motion. Other cities, basically, sometimes what you have to do is you double the permit, triple the permit. It all depends on the building official at the time. So I myself think $9,000 is excessive, especially that I'm sure that you didn't pay $9,000 for that door. Commissioner Blanes.
Logic and reason dictates here that we do something different. I make a motion to fine Ms. Pernas 10% of the imposed fine by the code enforcement, which would be, I think, $900. 10%.
Madam Manager?
It's a motion. I was gonna offer a recommendation for your consideration, but you have a motion on the table, and I'd
Okay.
like to respect that. Yes, Mr. Penna has advised that there's a $130 permit fee requirement, and there's also a $300 fine for starting work without a permit. I think that's fair. And I'm not done, Mr. Penna, and there is time on the file that I think that to be consistent as we are with other applications, I would actually mitigate that, and the amount is probably very close to what you're talking about, Commissioner Blanes. I believe that we should recoup the time on the file. And again, I would say $750 it helps us recoup the time on the file. So we're very close to the motion that you're making in this case. And that's why
Agreed.
I'm saying each case is separate
Agreed, so
from
I
each
changed
other.
my motion to that, whatever the percentage
You are
is.
amending the motion for
Yes.
$750. Okay, motion
Okay.
amended.
I need a second.
I second.
Okay. You have a first and a second. Can you call the vote, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Commissioner Rodriguez, have you voted?
I'm not sure if this is a proper time to ask, but I have to ask before I vote. Can we give the resident longer than the usual time to pay this? I know we usually work with
Yes.
45 days.
Yes.
But is it our decision? Can we
It will
give
be
the
your
resident?
decision.
Yes.
In addition, I would certainly recommend in this particular case, which I never
Okay,
attempt
so-
to do,
90
but
days?
I would say that payment in installments.
I am in total agreement with that. So
How's 90 days?
in order to, I'd like to ask the resident if that's acceptable, or does she even need more time? I would have no problem.
How long?
90 days?
90 days.
90 days?
Or paying in installments, what would work for you?
Paying in installments
Okay,
Would be
to,
better.
up to 90
to
days?
90
or
days? Yes,
Okay,
yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
thank you.
Then
You're
my-
okay with the 90 days?
I am.
You are?
You think
Yes.
that you might need more than that, madam?
It could be kind of difficult, but I do want to close this
Okay,
matter.
120 days.
120
then.
days.
Okay.
Is that okay? Is that
120
better?
days.
And what is
May
the
I-
amount?
May I make a
$750.
friendly motion, what I said?
Uh,
May I make a friendly motion?
Sure.
I really, I think even $700 is too much for this lady for $1 permit. But I think if the vote is for this, I recommend 120 days and start to paying in January after Christmas.
Okay.
In January 15th.
Agreed.
so-
Fair enough,
Okay.
fair enough.
All right, so you have a motion, you have a
Oh, my
friendly
vote, my vote
amendment.
is yes with the friendly amendment.
Yes, with a friendly amendment, start after, by January 15th, after Christmas, in 120 days.
Start on January 15th. Okay.
120 days from January
After-
15th,
okay.
yes.
And you divide the amount in
Uh-huh.
in 6 months, 120 days.
Monthly payments?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
4 months.
4 months.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
I'm sorry, 120 is 4 months.
4 months.
It's okay for you, 4 months?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so
In
much.
that case, my vote is yes.
Okay, Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca?
Yes.
Mayor Mujina?
Yes,
5-0, item passes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
you're
ma'am.
welcome.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Next item?
Mr. Mayor, resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a mitigation offer in the amount of blank from Jaime Aviles on code enforcement liens for code violations at the property located at 6426 Southwest 15th Street, West Miami, Florida, providing that if payment in full is not paid by blank, then the amount owed shall revert to the original amount, providing for effective date. Mayor and City Commission.
Mr. Mayor, this property is also, was cited with multifamily, and it was recently removed. And the board has the accumulated fine, an area, what's the,
The accumulated fine amount is $9,387.25.
and that's the mitigated amount that they're here tonight.
What is the fine for?
An illegal unit multifamily,
And how long was this going on?
for over a year,
For over a year?
yes.
And were there any complaints from residents?
That's how we came into knowledge of it, by
Yes.
complaint.
Did the police ever have to respond for any issues?
I don't have that report.
Do you know?
I'm not
Madam
aware, but I can tell you there were problem with the utilities, with payment, for the water. And, there were,
Well, one problem that we have with multifamilies is that, it's not fair to the rest of the residents to pay for, their garbage, their yearly garbage. We charge $350 for single-family residents, and when you have a multifamily, you have a lot more garbage. So, we have to collect that garbage, and it gets hauled in a garbage truck, and then, there's a tipping fee. And, we, in this case in particular, we were only getting $350 from that single-family residence, but yet we picked up a heck of a lot more garbage. So, we have to consider that the rest of the residents, the taxpayers, had to make up for that. So,
Aside from the fact that it's an unsafe condition, because the legal addition is usually put in without permits. So you have no
Well,
idea what was
I'm-
done to the electrical, what was
I'm
done.
looking in terms of monetary terms here, which is the only thing that we can, go on at this point. So how many? It was 1 year. So that's
Over a year.
so okay.
that
so,
we know
so
of,
let's say 12 months.
that we know of.
So 12 months times 350. What's that?
Mr. Pena, what's okay, is the violation have been taken care of?
Yes, it's been cleared at this point.
So it has been clear with permits?
No, everything was removed that was added illegally.
4,200, Commissioner.
So back to the original,
That's correct.
okay?
So the
Wait, let me, well, go ahead, you finish, and
so
then,
the code enforcement board mitigated it to 9,000.
Correct.
What was it before that?
It was about 120,000, correct?
Originally, yes. I don't have it here,
Okay,
but
that's
I
fine, that's
remember
fine.
reading
It's
it.
15%.
no, that's fine, okay. I have, you want to, because I have some more questions.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the legal multifamily has been removed, back to the original, and what's the function of the house right now? Is it a rental? Is it somebody that lives there?
I believe the property owner lives there.
Now the property owner lives there.
Yes.
Okay. Perhaps we should have, are you the property owner? No. Are you representing this property?
Yes.
Okay, can you state your name for
Mr.
the
Attorney,
record?
can he represent the property owner? If he's not an
Well-
attorney, he can't, right?
Wait, hold on a second, one at a time.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Richard Vargas, and I'm his nephew, and I have guardianship over him.
Mr. Attorney?
Florida law prohibits one person to represent another even with a power of attorney. So you can't do that.
Okay.
I did get a letter from the courts saying that I can represent him in his legal manners because he's incompetent and he
Well,
was
if-
having
that's
problems.
another matter.
Sir,
That
I
is
have an
another-
attorney
Okay.
present,
No,
and I
that-
have to, this is
that
my
is
legal
another
counsel.
matter.
Yes,
If he has been appointed by the court as a legal guardian, he has the right to represent the person that owns.
do we have proof of that?
Well,
Yes,
Okay,
he can
has that
represent-
proof, wait, has that proof been submitted for the attorney's review?
Oh, okay.
Yes, that was submitted at the Code Enforcement Board.
Code enforcement board,
Yes.
okay.
Same
So-
attorney.
Huh?
that's a
Same
different
attorney.
story. That's
Okay.
a different story.
That- Okay, but can I hear from?
Yes, sir,
Ms.
you
Yandel? Okay, so I'm sorry, we want to make sure that everything is fine.
that's
So
understandable.
your name again, how you're
Okay.
related to the case, and the address, please.
Okay, my name is Richard Vargas. I'm the nephew of my uncle, Jimmy Avilés. He resides in 6424 Southwest 15th Street, Miami, Florida, West Miami, Florida.
Okay?
6426.
26.
I'm sorry, I don't.
And I had to clarify to the
Yes.
board that, see, I see so many cases that I really forget about it. And I do remember being here and the gentleman presenting the appropriate a court executed document appointing him as guardian, and I think that the gentleman is sitting right behind.
The property owner.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Attorney.
The thing is that he can't move or he can't talk, I understand. So it would be difficult for him to go ahead and argue it.
I understand. I understand. Go ahead. Proceed.
Okay, so, I guess when he was living there at the time, it was very difficult to, when he had these violations going on and, his sister and his brother try to talk to him, get things straightened out, it was very difficult for him to deal with him. Back about a year ago, he was, found in his house unconscious. He was taken to the hospital May of 2016. I have a diagnosis from the doctor, and this is on July 20th, 2016. They diagnosed him with the above referenced individual, Jimmy Aviles, is currently my patient in my care. The patient suffers from following medical diagnosis: advanced Parkinson's disease, heart block with recent pacemaker. He is currently in rehab and cannot talk or walk.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You, by the court, you have been allowed to represent him. We don't need to get into
Okay.
those details. Let's talk about the house. Let's talk about that.
Right.
Okay,
The
what else you want
violations have been cleared,
Mhm.
and we're trying to reduce it, see if we can reduce it because he's on a fixed income. He does reside there, and plead to you guys that if you can do something to reduce it so he can continue living there.
reduce the amount so he can continue living there? And
Or
is
do
he-
away with the amount.
I don't know, this is a little bit unorthodox.
Well, you-
We're hurdling, see.
You heard what I said,
What if
right?
we're going to,
There was more people living there than they should have been,
Right.
right? It was a
Commissioner
multi-
Blanes, I have a question to the city attorney.
Okay.
I don't know how to proceed with this because we're dealing with the mitigation case, but I think we're getting, I can foresee we're getting, if we had a problem before, how can we're not gonna have that problem again if this person is gonna live there by himself.
Right, no, he's not living there by himself. We're getting somebody to help him out. Not only that, I'm his guardian, so I'm gonna be responsible for him.
Okay?
So none of that's gonna happen. I was the one that got the property back up to code and straightened everything out.
Okay. I'm a little lost over here, so.
Well, you heard what I said, right? You know, that's not fair.
Yeah.
You know, that other residents had to, you know, to pay for the extra garbage. I mean, how many people live there? Do we know?
No, I don't know.
Commissioner Blanes, but I know the pain and all that, but we dealing with an amount of $9,000. And, I mean, if we're talking about garbage for a full year, I think,
It's $4,200, so it's almost half, so. And Madam Manager, will that recoup what the city,
Yes, invested in the file.
invested in the
And
file?
again, we take a different look at this. Yes.
And, you know, it will make up for some of the garbage issue,
Yes.
okay?
Madam Manager, what's your recommendation?
We were gonna go along the lines of $4,500 to $5,000, but the $4,200 should cover the
Let's
time
just
of the
say,
file.
let's just say $4,000 even. So I make a motion to mitigate this
I agree,
to
sir.
$4,000 even.
Second,
Okay. Time frame? We have to talk about that.
You know, what we can do here is offer a good
Installment
timeframe.
customary.
You know, he's a resident, he lives there, and
Yes, he does.
he's under your care now, so you
Yeah.
know, since it's a lot more money, you know, maybe, you know, 6 months,
180 days.
180 days.
Again, starting January 15, 2018, to be consistent with the last case. Would that,
Mr. Vargas, is that okay with you?
Will he be able to get some more time?
How much time?
I'm willing To give more time.
to give more time?
Absolutely.
What's your proposition?
You're talking about $4,200, correct?
Yes. Well, 4,000.
4,000.
4,000 even.
Okay. So, 18 months?
May I have to obviously caution ourselves, we have a closing of a fiscal year, which is always September 30th. And all amounts due that are not lien, but by way of promissory notes, utilities, garbage, and everything needs to be paid because we need to journalize this so that we can provide the auditors
And
the
and
trial
that's
balance.
September 30th, right?
And that's
To-
September
To
30th.
September 30th then.
Would
That's
be
the
the
very
last
date.
day. Because we have to either lien what
Right.
remains unpaid again, and then you'll find yourself with another lien situation, because we do have to have a receivable for all the monies that are outstanding.
So I changed my motion to reflect that.
Okay, I need a
Four
second.
thousand dollars to be paid by September 30th, 2018, in equal monthly installments. Would that be acceptable to the commission?
And then, if it's not paid within that time, it will revert back to the original amount, which is $9,000?
That is correct. That would be $9,387.25.
Okay. So I have a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, can you call the vote?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca?
Yes.
Mayor Mujina?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
That gives them 9 months to make the equal installments.
Okay. Next item?
And Mayor, at this time, I would recommend to hear item
Yeah,
11J
The
and
special use.
the special use permit. There is a public hearing advertised, and the agenda was amended to include these two items.
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
may I make a recommendation, please?
Yes.
We have a guest today that would like to address us.
Yes,
Are you sure?
yes, 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 please.
You would like the Commissioner, Vice Mayor Blanca, you would like to hear from
Yes, please.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, would you
Okay,
allow a
sure.
brief introduction before we go into the next special
you
use
want to.
permit?
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Fernandez,
you.
please.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Javier Fernandez, thank you for this special consideration. I apologize I was not able to make it earlier, but I had a hearing at the City of Miami this evening. I just wanted to come and introduce myself briefly. I am a recently filed candidate for the vacancy in House District 114. I'll be running this upcoming special election, and wanted to, first off, before I make any comments, commend this board. I had the privilege about 5 years ago to serve very briefly for a meeting when I worked with your city attorney as your city council for hearing, and it's remarkable the progress the city has made over the course of that time, and it's a credit to this board, the new development, the Publix, the multifamily development. Really remarkable progress has been made, the improvements to the streetscape on 62nd. I want to commend your leadership. Obviously, that's a byproduct of the hard work of this, your mayor, the members of this council, and your city administration. So congratulations on that tremendous progress. I'm looking forward to getting to know each of you. I'd like to, if I can, introduce myself personally to all of you, share with you some ideas I have about working on transportation, my experience as a lawyer. I recently resigned from my law firm in order to pursue this opportunity. I'm going to dedicate myself full-time to campaigning here over the next 5 months to this effort. Look forward to working and bringing my experience in transportation, in development, as well as working with you on a number of, I know, stormwater mitigation, stormwater flooding issues you have that particularly impact the city, and would welcome the opportunity the next few weeks to meet with each of you personally. Thank you for the time, and again, I look forward to meeting with all of you and getting to know the issues really affecting this community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you and good luck.
May I say something, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I have known Javier for quite a while. Not only he's a brilliant, brilliant lawyer, but you'll be surprised that older lawyers, his peers, look up to him for advice and consent. I don't know whether I would recommend Javier over my own son, but I would advise you that I would have him equal to my son when he was in the legislature. I believe that having Javier in the legislature would be a plus for the state of Florida, and specifically for the city of West Miami. I think that you can find no better candidate that in any position that Javier Fernandez.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
If I could just, Mr. Mayor, very briefly thank my friend and former colleague for that tremendous praise. And again, I just want to be a resource to the city and look forward to, again, meeting with you to learn your issues and how I can carry those forward for you up at Tallahassee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
The next item, again, Madam Clerk?
Yes,
Thank
item
you.
11J and K. Item 11J is a public hearing. Applicant is Bar Holdings LLC, 6330 Southwest 16th Street, West Miami, Florida, 32155. Applicant requests a special use permit for the renovation of the property located at 6330 Southwest 16th Street, West Miami, Florida, providing for a two-story addition to the single-family home, property zone, residential single-family. Special use permit for index number 2017-004, zoning ordinance 282, section 281, section 417, zoning ordinance 282.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Again, Bar Holdings is applying for a complete demolition of the property that's at 6330 Southwest 16th Street. That property is a foreclosed property that has been dormant now for over a year. They purchased the property. They are going to demolish the complete property and build a four-bedroom, two-story home on the property. They went on November 28th to the zoning board and got unanimous approval for the application. They're here tonight, and also it's a public hearing. We notified 500 radius feet around the property, and it's a public hearing.
Are we gonna have a presentation by anybody, or this is?
Mr. Carlos is here for the property, and he could answer any questions you may have.
Okay.
Can we please hear from you, Carlos? Are you the resident?
State your name for the record and.
Carlos Rodriguez. I'm one of the owners of Bar Holdings.
Okay. You wanna add anything to the presentation?
Basically, we're building a two-story house, brand new house. It's gonna have 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage. I think it's gonna go very well with the neighborhood. Basically, trying to sell a nice house in the neighborhood. We like West Miami a lot. We think it's a good product for the neighborhood. I think it's gonna help to have some new product in West Miami, and I think it's only gonna add value, and hopefully there's more to come. I see there's a lot of development going on. I think the other gentleman mentioned there's some really nice apartment buildings you guys are building on the perimeter. And I also noticed that down 62nd, look, I think they built it back in 2000 and right before, like 2007, they built like 5 nice 2-story houses. So I think it's a new product that I think the city's going to welcome. And hopefully if this goes well, we can buy more and develop more in West Miami.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Pena, I just have a few questions. What was the, maybe I didn't read it. What was the vote? And I guess you said it
Unanimous.
verbally.
It's not here.
Unanimous,
It
okay.
doesn't say no.
The only thing, I have a question. There's a letter here from the architect that kind of threw me off a little bit because he talks about historical.
That's a form letter, and I believe they forgot to cut that part of it out.
I had the same question, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, no, because I don't remember anything historical, so.
No, there's nothing
Okay,
historical about the
okay.
structure that's there.
That's the problem with architect. They can't spell, but they know how to design, so, that's good.
Mr. Mayor, may I? May I?
Yes.
Mr. Penna, were there any residents at the
No.
meeting? No one?
No.
Any questions from the board?
I just want to congratulate Carlos. And.
Thank you, sir.
You lived here before?
No,
Okay, well, welcome to the city of West Miami, and I congratulate you.
thank you,
And I
sir.
hope you guys, have a great product, and you guys plan to sell the property?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you're gonna sell it for a lot of money.
We hope so.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
I have one more question. for Mr.
Why you,
Penna.
we haven't approved this, so why are you congratulating him?
Exactly.
Oh, I take that back, Carlos.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
The comment should be, I like the plan as presented.
Mr.
You
Penna,
know,
I have a
I'm
question.
ahead of myself here.
Do these balconies pose any sort of privacy issue with the residents, the neighbors?
No, there's no
I saw
ba-
balconies.
I rely on the knowledge and the wisdom of our planning and zoning board, when they approve a product, I know that it's all been thoroughly thought out.
I have
And
a
if-
question.
There's no
I don't see here, is it shingle roof or tile?
Cement tile.
Cement tile roof,
Am I going crazy?
impact windows.
This is
Uh,
a
the,
this is
I
a
have
class
a-
one project, right, Carlos?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Any further questions, because I got more questions?
Mr. Mayor, you're an architect, so maybe you,
No,
I
just
have-
this one. Let me finish with this one. The windows are they gonna be bronze or are they gonna be white?
We haven't decided yet, I mean, because we just turned in the plans, but we're gonna go with whatever, obviously, I mean, I like the houses to be, I was thinking about painting the house on a light color and like a brown tile roof and bronze windows. Right now, that seems to be very popular right now.
I think it will add elegance to it,
Right.
okay?
I have a question
Commissioner Suarez.
for both of you. Is the zoning board approve this unanimous?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
5-0?
Yes.
Make a motion.
Okay, there's a motion on the
Second.
table, I need a
We have to
second.
read the resolution, Mr.
Oh,
Mayor.
okay, go ahead.
Item 11K, resolution of the mayor and the city commission of the city of West Miami approving a special use permit for the renovation of the property located at 6330 Southwest 16th Street, West Miami, Florida, providing for a two-story addition to the single-family home, property zoned residential single-family special use permit for index number 2017-004, providing for effective date, mayor and city commission. We have a motion by Commissioner Suarez.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, I'm not the attorney, but we didn't open the public hearing.
That's correct.
That is correct,
right,
and Mr.
Mr.
Mayor,
Mayor.
for the record, the attorney had to go out and excuse himself
Okay.
for a minute to take a call.
Okay,
At this time, I open the public hearing. Anybody that wants to comment on the subject? Going once, twice. Back to the table, close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, point of clarification, I don't know why I read roof terrace as balcony.
Okay.
I saw two roof terraces and I don't know why.
Yeah, there's no balconies.
Yes, I see it.
So I have a motion, I have a second, and can you call the vote, please?
Mr. Mayor, motion by Commissioner Suarez, who made the second. Commissioner Blanes? Okay, on the motion, Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca?
Yes.
Mayor Mujina?
Yes.
Five
okay,
zero,
I bring
item
everything back
passes.
that I said.
Now you can speak.
Congratulations again.
Okay. Don't change architect, by the way. Welcome to the city of West Miami. Next item, please.
Mr. Mayor, at this time, I don't know if the city manager has any other recommendation on what item to take out of order.
Mr. Mayor, I think we should proceed with the order of the original agenda, if you want to go
Okay.
back to that. I think we left off, you need to start by
Item four.
approving your minutes for your various meetings.
Okay, so item 4, the minutes, please.
Item 4, presentation of minutes for approval for November 15, 2017, Charter Review Board meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Presentation of minutes for approval for November 15, 2017, regular city commission meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
passes. Next item.
Item 5, report of the city manager.
I did submit a report late this afternoon. I don't know, Annette, were you able to?
Yes, I was able to add
Okay,
it to the
great.
agenda.
In the amended agenda packet, you will find a report issued by my office on the issue of the lighting of the tree ceremony, which is scheduled for next Thursday, December 14th. The doors at the Recreation Center open at 5:30 p.m., and in keeping with prior years, we are going to call the event to order at 6 p.m. and have the official lighting of the tree. We have the flyers. We're starting to deliver those tomorrow morning to all city residents and, of course, your new developments along Commercial Corridor. We sent a blast email to those who have registered their email address with the city. We're also already on the city's Facebook page, Twitter, and the city website. We were able to secure donations for the food from Greater Miami and Publix. The refreshments are coming from Publix. As we get closer to the event, we will have all the decorations up and be ready for the lighting of the tree. Baron da Pared is donating again his official photographer capacity, taking the pictures on Santa's arrival and taking the family pictures. The city of West Miami has an operational plan in place and will ensure the well-being and safety of this event. The second item on my report is a follow-up to the revamping of the city's street signs as brought forward by Commissioner Blanes and approved by the Mayor and City Commission. I am advised that the Director of Public Works can commit to 2 signs per week based on the number of molds that we have. Am I correct, Mr. Penna? And I think he may have stepped out. But 2 signs per week, providing that we have good weather and the employees to devote to that effort. Correct? Thank you.
Starting when?
Starting January 1, 2018. Right now, we have all of our Public Works resources assigned to the decoration of the park project and the City Hall decorations.
Hey, I volunteer to help, so let me know.
We had to ask the city attorney.
That's right.
I'll put on my gloves and boots, and I'll go out there and
I'll be there with you too,
I would rather for you to preserve yourself as a legislator and not as a
Labor.
worker, because we might be responsible for your safety, and we don't want to run that risk.
What about we ask him to sign an affidavit?
Hold harmless.
Hold harmless.
I'll sign a hold harmless.
Okay.
The next item in my report is the reminder of the holiday party for our senior citizens.
I'll need a lot of supervision probably.
Oh, boy. The holiday party for the senior citizens, and of course, under the leadership of Commissioner Suarez, has been scheduled for Tuesday, December 19th at noon at the West Miami Community Center. And we've sent out some calendars so that you have, you're properly notified. Manpower efforts are underway in an effort to comply with a very short time frame that FEMA has given us to upload all storm-related information. This must be accomplished no later than December 29th. This is a project that is extremely time-consuming, and we all have to step up to the plate to make that deadline. There's lots to be provided in terms of information. At the same time, we're working with Rodriguez Trueba and Company in finalizing the closing of our fiscal year ended September 30th, 2017. The on-site audit process will begin shortly after the new year, and we will be working with staff to ensure that everything is ready to accommodate the verification of information as required by our auditors. Right after the beginning of the new year, once we close the fiscal year, and we accrue the dollars that we need that have been used as leverage money towards grant, we will give you a snapshot of the unaudited financial statements without the auditor's entries, so that you can have an idea of where we're at the end of last fiscal year. On behalf of my office and all city departments, we wish you and yours a very happy holiday season and a very happy and prosperous 2018. and I felt this was proper at this meeting since it is the last meeting in December 2017. Following that, a reminder has, also a calendar has been set for the holiday employee luncheon, which is scheduled for Wednesday, December 20th at the West Miami Community Center at 12:30 p.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 6, report of the city attorney.
Additional reported by the city attorney.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 7, report of the city engineers, none this evening. Item 8, committee reports, report of the mayor.
I have no report at this time. I will at the,
First meeting.
yeah, first meeting. I'll tell you a little bit about it. I follow up with Armando from FPNL and trying to see if we can do a town meeting to educate the public in terms of tree trimming, et cetera, in preparation for hurricane season.
Very good.
But all the details are not in place yet, and you know, we need to hear from Florida Power and Light. Okay, so I will
And-
report again at the beginning of the year.
Mayor, I have a memo that is in draft form right now regarding the meeting, so that you can submit that to the commission for the first meeting in January, setting forth a tentative date for your town meeting, and the other component that you're working with FPL, so I'll
Thank-
have that memo for you in a few days, as soon as we're done with the FEMA project, so that you can sign off on it if you agree with it.
Understood. Thank you. That's all I have. Anybody else has anything to report? Okay. Next item.
Item 9, citizen presentations. No presentations, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Item 10, unfinished business. Item 10A, nomination of alternate members to the Charter Review Board. This is by Mayor and City Commission.
Does anybody
And,
have a
uh,
nomination at this time? Okay. Talk to some people over the holidays.
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, and may I just inform you that the meeting scheduled for today was canceled, and the Charter Review Board will reconvene on January 17, 2018 at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Next item.
Item B, report by the Office of the City Manager regarding the ongoing use of PTP surtax appeal by the City of West Miami to the Office of CITT as it pertains to the audit period 2008 through September 30, 2016, Office of the City Manager.
Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm the bearer of the good or the bad news, I don't know. In this case, we were the subject of a county audit involving the use of the surtax dollars, which is part of the People Transportation Plan, and the audits are conducted every 6 to 8 years by the county. As a follow-up to the initial audit that the county did, which I reported, and we actually introduced a comment during our budget deliberations, the Office of the Audit and Management Services Department for the PTP, for the trust, has concluded their audits and they have entertained some of the items that we introduced during the appeal filed by the city, which dates back to August 2nd, 2017, just a few months ago. The background information on this is their first audit finding for the period that ended September 30th, 2008 concluded that the city wound up with what they call a deficit in the amount of $144,000, which is a deficit that has been carried over because they felt that some of the charges that the city had allocated towards the use of those dollars were ineligible. Because such a long period of time had passed, obviously this was not addressed in a timely fashion. This is for two employees that were initially charged to the surtax dollars to maintain the traffic circles that were built as part of the transportation program. That being said, we carried that amount and then fast forward to the audit for the period of time commencing October 1st, 2009 through September 30th, 2017. The county's audit department has continued to disallow certain use of funds by the city for projects. In addition to the $144,000 that we carried, they disallowed another $26,000 and change for the continuation of those employees. When we found ourselves with that first finding, we eliminated those employees and we let the general fund absorb them, but we had already incurred $26,000 worth of disallowable expenses. In addition to that, the city purchased parking meters as a result of the reconfiguration of the Southwest 9th Street project years ago. The county's CITT office found that we were able to use those PTP dollars towards the purchase of the parking meters as well as using those employees. However, their auditing team determined that these amounts were that they were de-obligated, that it was not allowed. So the CITT office and the audit team for Miami-Dade County are not 100% in agreement. In fact, in 2010, and included in this packet, there is a letter from Charles Kerr, who is the outgoing executive director of the CITT, and clearly that letter addressed to the city of West Miami has one sentence, which is the final sentence in that letter, and it reads, "To date, the city of West Miami has been compliant with a revised interlocal agreement." That means we have lived up to the terms and conditions of our agreement. That letter was sent to the city on it was issued by the county on April 7th, 2010, received by my office on April 26, 2010. So clearly, there is the two offices are not speaking to each other, and that's what's happening. Now, as I understand it, the audit findings, and in my conversation with Jacqueline Williams and Kathy Jackson, which are Kathy is the director for the audit department, their decision is final and it's non-appealable. In essence, what they have found is that the number that our independent auditors booked as of September 30th of last year, their audited balance differs from what the county says that we need to have in reserves in PTP. Our auditors are balancing our books with a surplus of $97,542.58 as of the closing of September 30th, 2016. The county is telling us that we should have a fund balance of $426,411. They are not asking for the city to pay them back the money. They are asking the city to replenish PTP, which is a separate enterprise fund, with an $366,000 worth of reserve dollars that can be allotted towards future projects of the city of West Miami. So we have a recommendation. I mean, we've been going back and forth. Our auditors have been involved. Jerry Donates, Mercedes Leon, and I participated in a conference call with the county and their auditing team, and their decision is final, and this is what they're going to close the audit with.
What's the amount again?
The amount that we have to transfer.
The difference, yeah.
The difference is $366,000.
Okay, that's a lot of money for the city of West Miami.
You're not paying them, you're
No,
not
I
paying them
understand.
back. We're basically depleting our general funds by those dollars. So we asked them.
The one that
could
I'm sorry that I interrupted you, the one that we have for years been trying to build back. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, you're correct. So, in order for us to present something that is equitable for the city at a time where we're trying to rebuild reserves, Mr. Mayor, which is well said by you, we recommend that we transfer $100,000 from the 2016-2017 reserves and another $100,000 from general funds, which we budgeted in anticipation to the results of this audit in the 2017-2018. That resolves $200,000, and the balance, which is $128,000, be transferred next fiscal year and be part of next year's budget. With that in mind, we will be compliant with the audit, and the next audit should start with no pending issues. And obviously, by the time the next audit rolls around, it may be another 7 years. I don't know if your finance and accounting staff will be the same, and if your management office will be the same. It's a long time away. And what I'm saying is, this is like a vicious circle. One office is not communicating with the other within the same organism, which is Miami-Dade County. And it seems like we don't have another appeal opportunity or another venue to appeal this. So we've taken all those factors in consideration, and we've also asked for some sort of an installment plan to pay for this, and we've made some provisions in this year's budget. So this is how we recommend to you, so that we don't deplete general fund in its entirety, that we do this over time.
Okay, I have a question for the city attorney. Mr. Attorney, have you looked into this situation?
No, this has been something that the manager have been taking care of by herself.
With the
when-
auditor,
I'm sorry?
with the independent auditor.
With the independent auditor. However, my impression at first glance is that this is totally inconsistent with what I generally believe. There's always an appeal from an administrative body. This is an independent body. This is not Miami-Dade County.
Correct.
It's just a creation by Miami-Dade County, so they would be independent. And so
You're talking about the auditors? The
well,
auditors are independent from the county?
No, no. The-
No,
No, no. The auditor, you're talking about
the program.
The program
The
is-
PTP is governed by, the CITT has a trust, and that trust is pretty much the
The
mayor
governing
and
body.
city commission, the governing body
Of-
over the use of the surtax proceeds.
So my interpretation would be that, first of all, you have to resolve the issue for the time being, and to do further investigation and see whether it doesn't jibe to me that a part of the independent statement cannot be overridden by the body that governs that institution. So the city manager is totally correct. It's inconceivable to me how that happened. She did talk to me about that the other day, and this was my comment to the manager.
Okay, I'm not an attorney, but when you play baseball, there's a set of rules. When anything that you do in life, there's always a set of rules, okay? When this money is given, allocated, however you want to call it, to the city, that has attached a set of rules to it. Okay, there's a book, I hope, or there's a memo, or there's something
It's
written.
in your packet.
It is in the
Question
pa-
and answers as to what is eligible.
Okay.
In addition
The-
to what
we-
is eligible, Mr. Mayor, if I may, we have to submit a 5-year transportation plan with our vision or our list of projects, and that is approved by the CITT office. And we have submitted consistently our 5-year plan, and now their auditing team is telling us 8 years later, or 16 years later, hey guys, sort of misused the PTP proceeds, and you have to replenish your kitty. We're not asking you to pay us back. We're just asking to pay that fund back from another fund.
Right, but it messes up our checks and balance and whatever you want to call it. Okay, I'm a simple guy. I want this in lemon terms. So, we submitted, we have to do this every 5 years?
Every 5 years.
And do we get a response back when we submit this?
Yes, in 2010, we got a letter, every year, every 5 years, we just submitted our certification. Every year, a 5-year plan. I'm sorry. We just submitted that letter last week to Mr. Skur's office.
Okay, so if we submit every year, do we get a response every year?
No.
There's no response. We
No.
submitted and total silence.
If they
So we're doing our part.
if they are not generally in agreement with what we submit, we hear back from them. But if there is no comments, that means a report is received and accepted by the office of the CIDT. And we're generally compliant with the mandate of the use of the surtax dollars.
Mr. Mayor?
Wait. Let me finish here. I want to. Okay. Now, so that part is taken care of. Now, from a legal point of view, if we have somebody, in this case, the auditing board, whatever they're called, saying that we're not in compliance and there's no, I mean, this is what you got to do. Is that what we got to do? And then we can protest about it and file, a complaint or whatever. Help me out over here, Mr. Attorney, because I'm not an
A
attorney.
petition for mitigation.
Uh-huh. Okay.
No, I can't. Mr. Mayor, I have not been involved in this particular case, but I believe that we should be involved in this particular case. I think that it doesn't make sense to me that the auditing of the board has an opinion against the dictates of the board. I think that the ultimate law should be the board. And that, as I say, I offer the manager to be involved. As we learned this last week, right?
Actually, my memo was issued on December 1st after the audit department submitted their final finding letter.
Okay.
I think
go-
that I have to get involved in that.
Let me, before Commissioner Suarez, I have Commissioner Blanes that wanted to speak.
Madam Manager,
Hopefully
have
we don't
you
go like
reached out to the League of Cities?
They have no involvement in
There's
this
no
whatsoever.
involvement?
No.
So-
And I can tell you that we are not the only city.
Well, that's what I'm alluding to.
Yeah.
That maybe, and what do you say the League of Cities has no,
They really have nothing to do with this. They represent municipalities as a voice for municipalities, but they do not get involved. They get involved, the League of Cities gets involved on the concept of how those dollars should get distributed, so that each city is represented equally on the split. But they don't get involved with the audit process for municipalities because they don't have a team of auditors that can take a look at this.
so, my other question is the Miami-Dade County Commission, are
Yes.
they aware of what these auditors are
I
doing?
am not sure, but the Board of County Commissioners, under the present structure of the
Because
program,
they appoint this,
they appoint
These people, right? To
the
that-
people to the trust.
and the people from the trust appoint these auditors?
The people, no, these auditors are employees of the Internal Department of Auditing, I don't know.
Miami-Dade County.
Miami-Dade County, Internal Services Division. They work strictly for the CITT office. doing audits for CITT-related use of surtax dollars by different cities.
So as the attorney stated, then these auditors are
County employees.
county employees, but they have to abide by whatever these appointed individuals on this PTT board.
The rules are
Demand, right?
set by the members of the trust.
Mayor, may I?
Let's have,
Okay, all right.
Commissioner Blanes, you're done for
Yeah,
now?
I'm done.
Okay.
I can tell you unequivocally that pursuant to my conversation with the executive director and Nestor Toledo last week, we're not the only city in this set of circumstances. This is coming up pretty consistently as a result of the audits. In my opinion, in our opinion, the audits should not take 8 years between one and the other. They should audit us more frequently because a problem that can be caught on time can be addressed and it doesn't have the monetary value that this audit result
Mayor,
has generated.
Yes, Commissioner
Because
Suarez.
we have to wrap around this thing because we are just floating and floating. Let's go to the point.
No, it's not floating, it's being able to understand it.
No, but you will understand now very soon.
Okay, I hope so.
Our city, every time our city spend the money from them, we ask for authorization, right? The money we has been spending, we get the approval from the county
On a yearly basis.
on a yearly basis. So we has been doing what they approve. 1 year, second year, third year. So we has been doing what they approve. Now, if 8 years, this group of whatever
Auditors.
personalities, they come with this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. We should fight, we should appeal, and our lawyer have to work, get involved now, before he didn't know about this, because this is something new. And our lawyer should appeal and fight, because this is unacceptable, because this is a third world point, that they approve, and then 8 years later, a group of well-paid people say, oh, no, it's not it was not approved. Was approved. We approved it was approved. So we have to fight and appeal this. This is simple. That's it.
I agree,
Yes,
Commissioner
please.
Suarez.
That's it.
I have a question,
So
Mr.
now,
Mayor.
but I have a question, before I agree. Have we been given a time frame on this?
Their report is final. They have advised us that there is no other appeal opportunity.
We have to look for, the lawyer have to look that. He didn't know now. Now is the first time he's getting involved in this.
Okay. Mr. Attorney, what's your advice on the subject?
My advice is just to go ahead and get involved with the manager and see what opportunities we have in order to correct it. I mean, if we did something wrong, then I can see that whether it's now or later, we have to pay it. I mean, we have to correct it. But as we have been told, we have not been doing anything wrong. We have a set of our projects and they have approved it. The only problem that I see is that there have been no response from them approving our projects.
But we have a letter dated 2010, shortly after the conclusion of the first audit, which is where the problem started, telling us that the city is compliant with the revised ILA. That tells me that we have complied with the interlocal agreement.
That's the
I
time
mean-
for the lawyer now.
Okay.
I have a
question.
I have a question.
Ms. Aguilar, hold on a second, Ms. Aguilar. Okay, so, I'm sorry, this is a lot of information. So, when is that you were planning or suggesting to move the money?
Well-
Starting when?
We budgeted for this fiscal year that just started in October in anticipation of what we thought was gonna come out of this audit. We budgeted $100,000 to be transferred to PTP. So that mitigates $100,000. We also accrued, Mercedes and I accrued as of the closing of your 2017 fiscal year, which we're in the process of closing, we are accruing $100,000 of what could have been potentially money to go to fund balance we have accrued it to go towards PTP money, which resolves $200,000.
So the only thing that it was allocated in the budget is the first 100,000.
Right.
If the second 100,000, it will tap
We-
into the reserve.
We're tapping into revenues over expenses left over that would have otherwise gone into reserves for the fiscal year closed September 30th, 2017.
Okay, can we give you a direction, this board give you a direction?
Of course.
So,
I
the
have a
direction,
question first, Mr. Mayor.
go ahead. I have, yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
I understand everything you said, Madam Manager, about we've been compliant, we have the letter from them that we're compliant. Our auditors say we're compliant, and we've yearly submitted the proper documentation to them.
Correct,
Then we have this other audit saying we're not,
correct,
and telling us or recommending what we need to do to clear all this up.
correct.
What if we refuse to do it? What happens if we just outright, because we know or we feel we've done everything
They
right?
can withhold our PTP proceeds.
What does that mean?
That means that we will not get the revenue that we get every month based on the sales tax collections. They will withhold payments until those, the city is in compliance with the audit.
And that will start when?
I don't know that.
No, you said every month.
We get revenue on a monthly basis, the distribution of the sales tax proceeds that is allotted to the city on transportation and use of transit. For transportation and transit, when those dollars, if they are withheld at the end of the day, when that will start, I cannot answer for you because I don't have that information.
Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Manager, if the lawyer may start now to appeal or to fight, and you concede, if you start to move the money, before that, you concede that you was a problem. They
Well,
are not wrong.
We're taking
But you are
precautionary.
conceding that we make a mistake if you move the money
Well,
before
we are
they appeal.
conceding, Commissioner,
My,
with all.
my question is, let the lawyer appeal, let the lawyer fight before you move money. It's what everybody does.
Okay,
In any
so-
private enterprise. You don't move money until the lawyers fight. After the lawyers appeal, fight, then you move the money if you lost. But if
So,
not, you should not move the money.
Mr.
That's
We
what I
should
think. That's
approve
why
and
me,
then over.
tell me,
Mr.
Mr. Villalobos.
Mr. Attorney, go ahead.
I believe that it can always be turned back. I think that we cannot afford to be in the position of being in danger of the county withdrawing, the DCP withdrawing or holding our money. So I think that the fact that you're taking it from one pocket and putting it to the other, you can always reverse it.
Or
That's-
can we?
That would be, of course, I have to consult with the independent auditor, but as I say, I cannot answer questions that I am not familiar with.
That's why you should, now, after you start, then she may take a decision, but now she should not take any decision until you give
Well-
the directions if it's wrong or right.
That will be for the entire commission to decide.
Yes, okay. That's why I asked the question, you know, the different steps. We already have approved in the budget moving $100,000. We're not talking about paying back, we're talking about moving 100,000. We all approved it. So, I mean, to go back on that will be an amendment to the budget. So that's one. So I think, I agree with you, Commissioner
I'm
Suarez.
talking
I-
about move the money back. I'm talking she have to wait until the lawyer fight and then bring us the problem. The lawyer should fight and the lawyer should get the answers from those appeals and those fightings, and then she comes back to us telling that the problem has been, the county has the right, the auditors have the right.
I
the
understand, Commissioner, but let me explain to you. We're talking about 3 pots of money. The first 100 grand, 100,000, it's already contemplated in the budget. We all approved it. We all approved it. So we're not doing anything different. If we, so at least that portion of the
Mayor,
money.
I just want to let you know that the lawyer should start to fight for this. That's it.
Can you let me finish,
That's it.
please? Can you let me finish?
That's it.
Yes, I understand, and I'm in agreement.
Okay,
There's two parts to it. One is the money, one is the attorney. I think we all in agreement here. I mean, as a matter of fact, we should call a vote on that. But I'm just clarifying. Keep in mind, whatever motion, whatever direction is, that the first part, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example in my practice. In my practice is, let's say you have a client, and the client is in default of paying you. And I've been advised by attorneys many, many times on this. Even if the client is in default paying you, doesn't give you the right to continue giving service. You can continue giving service. If you stop giving service, you're in a worse situation. So it's your intention. I mean, if we were going to pay the money back to the county,
this
if we
is-
were going to pay the money,
Mayor-
then I totally agree. We should fight.
Mayor,
But
this
it was-
is a report from for the manager. That's it. We don't have to make a vote for nothing. She's reporting to us that.
She's
And
she's looking for consensus.
and
Miss-
my consensus is that the lawyer get involved.
Okay, so
Consensus.
let's call a vote then.
I got a question.
Yes.
I don't know, maybe, state law supersedes all municipal laws, right? When it comes to audits, when cities are supposed to submit their budgets and audits.
We're talking in generalities. I mean, the state law usually, generally supersedes or is above or trumps against any local rules. But
The-
but the problem is that I don't know what this is about.
What I'm alluding to is maybe that there's a state law that says that audits need to be done within certain periods of time. This audit that they're doing is what, every 7 years?
6 to 8 years is the average time between audits.
Well,
It's like
what I would suggest,
long-term planning, that's,
what I
you know-
would suggest respectfully, the one that has been doing the work and for how many months?
Since the first audit.
Okay, is the manager. I would suggest that you follow the advice, the advice of the manager, because it always can be reversed if we can find some sort of solution about this problem. But if you stop it, I agree with the mayor that we will be in worse position. Okay? That's my recommendation.
Madam Manager.
Thank you. In other cases involving litigation, and I'll cite red light cameras, we have reserved dollars for potential exposures so that we can be ahead of the game and plan properly. What we can do, if this brings some peace of mind to this commission, what we can do is reserve the dollars, and if any litigation between the city and the county or request for legal remedies here initiated by our city attorney on the issue of the audit findings comes to a resolution in that favor, that money is released and it goes back to the reserve kitties. But what I don't want to do is lose sight of the fact that we have the potential exposure for this money between one fund and another fund. And we need to at least accrue that money and set it aside and designate and reserve it for a specified audit finding. If at the end of the day we come out prevailing as a result of the attorney's negotiations and our meetings with the counties, then it's $200,000 that immediately will revert back in an unrestricted capacity to add to your general fund money. But we have always taken a very careful approach to pending litigation. We've always reserved monies. I don't know how long an appeal of this nature can take. I can tell you that there is a change of guard in the office of CITT. Charles Kerr is retiring as of the end of this month, and I will bet anything that he's probably taking a long vacation and writing out his time, and that the new director, Javier Betancourt, whom I have a very good relationship with, is the new executive director. He is a very capable young man, very intelligent young man, but he is going to need some time to grow into the position and learn all of the intricacies for all of the city ILAs. So this may be on hold for a few months. And I'm just saying, let's be safe. Let's accrue the money. Let's let the county know that we want a meeting with them, and it's probably going to be Charles telling me, deal with the new executive director coming in. And we're prepared to do that. And we will take the finance director, our city attorney, they can have their auditing team, Mr. Penna, all of us can go to a roundtable meeting and say, we completely disagree with your findings, and we want to know what kind of legal remedy or appeal process is available to the city. We have been advised as of this date that we are completely compliant with the program. Is it yay or nay? And how do we resolve this?
Okay, let me propose,
You
let
have asked
me,
me-
let me propose the following, okay? The way I see it, this is a two-component item. I know it's a Madam Manager report, but we have to respond. We need to give some guidance. On one hand, I mean, and I think we should call a vote, so that way, you know, she knows where we're going with it, is one is to follow her recommendation, and the other thing that we need to vote about it is to, if we're gonna fight it or not. So, Madam Clerk, guide me in the process over here. But
Is there a
maybe you
motion
wanna
on the
call the
table?
vote yourself.
There has to
Vote
be
for
a
what?
motion.
Huh?
There needs to be a motion on the table
Vote for
with
what?
some direction to the city manager.
Right. So I need a motion.
She already did what she's going to do?
No,
We
no,
need
let
a
me,
motion.
let me, Mr. Mayor,
Okay,
please.
that's a motion that we have to have.
Eh,
Okay,
eh,
motion.
Commissioner Suarez, with all due respect, please.
Mr. Mayor, the
city-
only motion, I mean, it's not even in the agenda as an item. So, excuse me, Mr. Commissioner. The thing is that the manager is requesting guidance and instructions. I advise the commission, because you asked me to, go ahead with the manager's recommendation at this point, and we'll just go ahead, and I'll get involved from now on, because I had no idea this was going on.
I understand, but I want to formalize it.
Oh, you
Because I
formalize it?
want to know everybody's opinion, if it's a yes or no.
Well, but.
So-
just
So
go
we need
ahead
to
and-
do it either on a motion, or we need to.
Motion for what he said, for what the lawyer said.
For with the manager recommendation.
And you
Okay.
get involved. Motion for that.
Okay, so then I need a second.
Second.
Okay, call the vote, please.
Yes, yes, Mr. Mayor. Commissioner Blanes, how do you
Yes.
vote? Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca? Mayor Mujina?
Yes.
5-0 to follow the manager's recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Manager, for all the effort that you have put into this. I know you have been working for quite some time.
Months.
Please do not underestimate by all the questions tonight, that we underestimate your work. On the
Thank you.
contrary, we just live it with this thing, and we gotta
So am I.
fight it.
I was
And
beginning to
Mayor,
get a
I
headache.
used to, Villalobos, distinguished counselors, remember, you have to get involved in this now, because this is a surprise, this is something that, all right.
Okay.
All right, next item.
Next item would be item 11D. Report by the Office of the City Manager in reference to a new concept involving pilot bicycle program.
Again.
Seguimos con la bicicleta. Dale,
Seguimos.
come on.
Very simple.
Pedaleando con Bernie.
This is very, this is very simple. I'm gonna take it over from the manager. There have been an offer for certain companies to come and, put bicycles in the streets, okay? There's no specific, site where you're going to have the bikes. They just lay it out there somewhere, and, if you wanna use it, as I understand it, you called, something in the internet?
No.
No?
No,
All right.
no. Okay,
You have an app in your iPhone.
there you go. You have an app, and the bicycles bring a mechanism where you can actually rent time to use on the bicycles, and you can pay with your debit card.
And when you
And-
finish, you just go ahead and go out to Commissioner Blanes's home and leave it in the front yard.
Okay, so there's a memo in your packet dated December 1st, 2017, and over the last month, basically, the memo says that we've been approached by 3 vendors who represent 3 different bicycle companies who've made their presence in Miami-Dade County as a way to provide alternatives to transportation congestion and at the same time promote recreational and fitness options for our community. The memo basically serves to highlight my initial observations and assessments, and as well provide you with a recommendation on the program based on my initial meetings with the vendors. The vendors are 3. Spin, which is represented by Daniel Diaz Leyvas, Lime Bike, represented by Fausto Gomez, and OFO, represented by Southern Strategy, and I believe the lady from OFO, Ms. Garcia, is sitting in the audience this evening. The program has a lot of pros and a lot of interesting concepts. It's fairly new to our county, very popular in the West Coast, California, and it's been around in Europe for years and is evidently becoming trendy and popular in the southern part of Florida, especially here in Miami-Dade County. The bicycle provides an alternative that is aimed at reducing vehicular traffic in our county and offers an environmentally fresh idea of reducing pollution by lessening the use of vehicles for recreational purposes and for commuting, and that has a huge plus, no question. The program is in place in a couple of cities in Miami-Dade County, but very new for us to gauge its success or lack thereof. Here's what I see from a negative standpoint. There are numerous concerns that come to mind, and although all the vendors have agreed to include a hold harmless clause and a partnership as part of the agreement, it's going to tax our resources. The concern has been confirmed by our deputy chief in his initial assessment, and he's here tonight, Carlos Avila, our deputy chief, and calls for service involving potential accidents will tax the department, which involve more than a simple response depending on the nature of the call. Since there are no requirements on where these bikes can be left by the user of the bike when the time expires on that meter, it may hinder our public works department on their routine garbage pickups or other services such as the recycling. For example, if the one-armed bandit truck comes and there's a bike that's left in my right-of-way, it's going to hinder the ability of that truck to pick up the container for the recycling. These are little details that may become big issues along the way. In addition, if the bikes are left in our residential streets or sidewalks, they'll hinder pedestrians who walk and those who use our heavily traveled roads to commute to and from, and may generate some constituent complaints, and that could be on the rise, especially from our senior population. But by far the biggest concern for the city is the fact that we don't have designated bike lanes in our roads, posing a real liability even if we are released via a hold harmless clause. I had an opportunity to have a lengthy conversation with our litigation specialist in our insurance company, Dave Kaminsky, who advises me that in Orlando, Florida, they're seeing more and more of these bicycle programs, but they have a lot of commercial and tourist attraction areas where they are more popular than in the urban residential community. However, Dave Kaminsky, and it was corroborated by Mike from the League of Cities, who was here yesterday, and the clerk and I participated in a meeting. They're saying that it looks like claims may be on the rise from cyclists who are claiming that the road conditions have triggered some cyclist accidents. And so if the roads are not perfectly paved and there's an accident, there may be a lawsuit filed. He did confirm again that the bikes are popping up everywhere, but the fact is that our city is 3/4 square miles. We don't have any tourist centers or city centers like Doral, any shops or galleries or restaurants or bookstores that lend itself to a short commute that a resident could rent a bike and use. I think we need to also look at the aesthetic effects from the proliferation of the bikes left virtually anywhere or in any part of the city. And that may add to a problem that we already have with grocery carts. So it's my understanding that the city of Coral Gables is also evaluating the program, and they're dealing with letters of interest or RFQs or RFIs right now from vendors, and they have not made a final decision on when or if they're going to go towards the program. So given the above, I'm not saying let's not entertain it at all. I'm saying let's allow a little bit of time to gauge what other communities are facing in terms of complaints or non-complaints for that matter. And I would encourage the commission to refrain from making a decision to move forward for a few months. I think that within a period of 4 to 6 months, the city will have at least an idea of how other municipalities are dealing with the bicycle program.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Madam Manager, does these companies, do they have to come through us? Or can they, have a contract or an agreement with someone else in our city, like, our new development, our new rental apartments that we're developing in the perimeter? Because what I can see is a lot of people live in apartments, sometimes it becomes burdensome, for them to have to lug their bike from their apartment,
Or living in an apartment is
right,
hard
put
to
it in
keep
the
a bike.
elevator and then, or maybe they keep it in the parking lot, I'm not sure, but I think it would be an advantage to them to be able to just walk out, or their apartment and have a bicycle waiting for them right there on the sidewalk. And if they want a bike or just want to do some exercise and bike around our city, and then they can return the bike and put it right back there, right by the apartment building.
The bikes have no docking stations. They're picked up anywhere. Actually,
There's no racks to them?
There's no racks.
They're just,
They're dockless.
dockless.
oh,
And they are serviced, rebalanced,
Cool.
and they're located via a GPS, and the vendor has the location, and they come around, or they promise to come around every 2 hours to the general vicinity where these bikes are left, and reposition them and rebalance them. That much the vendors have pledged.
So this is like a bicycle Uber, but you gotta go to the bicycle instead of the bicycle coming to you. Okay.
That's right.
Huh?
They bring, let's say they deploy 50 bikes, 75 bikes as a pilot program to the city.
I think
And
that'd be too
they'll-
many.
I agree.
So,
Well, I'm
okay,
sure you
let's say I'm on the corner of, whatever, 57 and 8. And I get on my phone and I want a bike. Do they come to me?
The bike-
No.
It locates
It's
it, right?
It locates the closest bike.
Okay.
If I may, if you drive up 57th Avenue, City Place Doral, if you ever gone to City Place Doral, you'll see them all there. I believe they're the orange ones. And up 57th Avenue, which I believe is South Miami,
Miami.
I believe, if I'm not
Yellow.
mistaken, yellow,
I've seen
yellow.
Yellow.
You see them pretty much, there's like one at every bus stop. So
Yep.
basically, it's to enhance like your bus rides. If you get off the bus, you get on your bike, and you ride
To your
to, let's say you're a UM student, you ride to your housing, and you leave the bike there. So they're deployed throughout the city, where the company feels they'll be best used. And then, based on data, since it's GPS, they will redeploy the bikes to where the most use is, where the heavier use is. So I've seen them.
So it adapts.
It adapts. And they drop off the bikes depending on, obviously, the size of the city and based on usage. But I've seen them in City Place Doral, I've seen them on 57th Avenue as well, and I was someplace else the other day, I saw.
They're getting
I saw
close.
them.
They're
Mhm.
getting close.
Yeah.
May I, Mayor?
Yes,
May I?
yes.
I sing in South Miami. I sing, and I remember this commissioner there, Josh, that year ago was talking to me about those things and how they, because they have University of Miami there, and they have a lot of students there, and they have bucolic roads, you know, like you take all 57th Avenue, and then you go to Old Cutler, you know, you go to the sea, you know, it's a large cities with good roads, you know, very nice. And Doral have some areas with schools, but my point of view is that we are 3/4 of a mile. And then we have the borders, 8th Street is a 4 lanes fast road. Coraway is a 4 lanes fast road. 67th Avenue is 4 lane fast road. And 57th Avenue also. So we don't have bucolic streets. We don't have a UM here. We don't have, you know, that in the large cities, they have all those things that attract those. What I see here is that maybe people from out of our borders come here to get the bicycles and go around the 67 West or whatever, or City of Miami North, 8th Street, and then the bicycles are going to be around the police department. The bicycles are going to be on the road, in front of your home, Mr. Blanes. Maybe somebody just drop there, go to have a frita at the Mago, and just put the bicycle in front of your house. Because we're a small city. I'm sorry for you because it's a great thing, and you maybe has been, you know, Copenhagen, Amsterdam, those cities with a lot of bicycles and everybody moves at the same time. It's a wonderful thing, but we are a different. In my view, this is a different small place for that business. In my view, I don't see here this, and we have the danger of the 8th Street,
Madam,
67.
I have a question for you.
Excuse me.
This is
We
a
have the
report.
danger, Mr. Blanes, wait a moment, I didn't finish yet. We have the danger of Coraway.
Well, she can come
I
up.
know
You can
want
still
to
come
talk
up,
to
you
her.
can come up, you can come up.
I know you want to talk to her, but when I finish, I give you all the time for her. Well, we have the danger of Coraway,
I'll let you have her number later.
67th Avenue. You know, we are a small city. I know it's a wonderful thing, but in my view, our city have no area for that.
I agree, and
Before you
Sure,
start,
sure.
Mr. Attorney, can we allow a presentation?
I have a question.
ask-
Wait, no, hold on a second.
have a question
Hold
for
on. Listen, Mr. Attorney, can we allow a presentation?
It's not a presentation, it's a question.
It's a question, and the city manager advises me that she did notice everybody, so they would have equal access, but they didn't choose to come, and the lady came, so you have all the right in the world to ask a question.
I just wanted,
Yeah. I sent the memo
Please
to all the
understand my
vendors
position, okay.
that have approached me.
so everybody was noticed that,
Please.
everybody, wait, can I speak, please?
He's
Eh,
crazy.
He's the mayor, so he can speak. He can
Yeah.
speak whenever he wants.
Madam Manager, so all the people
Oh
were
my
invited, everybody was noticed.
Everybody was advised of the same, the email was sent with a copy of my memo to the 3 vendors advising them that although this was not gonna be a public forum, a public hearing, they were invited to attend the commission meeting because this memo would be presented tonight.
Okay, therefore, state your name for the record, address, and
And the color of your bikes.
Okay, my name is Lisa Garcia, 3000 Southwest, sorry, I just got aligners. Southwest 3rd Avenue,
Turn the micro to you.
3000 Southwest 3rd Avenue, apartment 708, Miami, Florida, 33129. My bikes are yellow. I represent OFO, and the name represents a person riding a bike, OFO. So I met graciously with City Manager Aguilera and Aguilar, and we talked at length about the concerns, and we understand that. But unfortunately, it will happen where every city is going to find these bikes in their vicinities, because eventually it's going to unlock every single city. So right now we've had to pick up bikes. We're only in South Miami. We've had to pick up bikes in Coral Gables. We've had to pick up bikes in Miami Beach. So people are finding a need. Again, it's a different environment. There is a college, and there is the, you know, the roadways are different. But it's just it was just a conversation starter to see we want to be part of the community. So even if a person lives in a apartment building and they want to take it for recreational purposes, our team does rebalance, and we make sure we put them back where they're supposed to be. With, in particular, the city of South Miami, they only wanted 50 bikes, and they wanted to make sure that they were only in specific areas. And I walked with Deputy City Manager Sherry Kamali, and we identified those spots various times, and every single time, we've only been there since November 2nd. And we go out, our team deploys, and we rebalance, and we make sure those bikes go back to those areas. But it's a free-floating concept, so the market dictates the demand. So if it's in a apartment building, or if it's on 57th and El Rey de la Frita, or if it's in if it's a public supermarket, we do work with developers, and we work closely with a police chief at the city of Miami, city of South Florida, ay Dios mío, city of South Miami, and we work closely with them. We have a 24/7 customer service line, and we respond within 2 hours, depending on the location of the bike. As a matter of fact, we found the bike in the airport. We found 9 of them on the airport. So people are using them. So I understand the concerns and the concerns of the community, and that you don't want to have a bike blocking. And I think consumer education is huge. Like I mentioned to City Manager Aguilar, we don't want to put the bikes out there and then leave. We really are committed to making sure the bikes are properly used, not fallen or not blocking any roadway. We create some education on the bikes. Of course, sometimes people don't read, but our patrollers educate the consumers. So, I mean, I don't know if that answers your question, or if you had an additional question.
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Attorney.
The manager talked about something that she says, an RFP or an RFQ. That's procurement. We're not procuring anything. How have you been able to get into the city without some sort of understanding or contract or whatever?
We are with the city of South Miami, we did a pilot program, and it's only for a year, and it's an exclusive. Other cities do permits, like the city of Coral Gables has an RFLI.
What?
RFLI, request for information. And then, like, for instance, University of Miami has an RFQ. So with the city of South Miami, it was just a pilot program, and we went straight to the city manager, and then the city manager presented it to the commission. That's how we worked with the city.
What sort of contract do you have with them?
Just an exclusive agreement.
Okay.
I think I shared it with you.
Will you share that with us?
I will. If I did not, I apologize. I will send
No, I
you.
don't believe so. I
I'll
think
send
you
you
were
the
gonna email it to me.
Okay, I'll check, because it's the executed copy, and that's how we're working. We actually met with the village of Pinecrest, and they had the same concern, although they do have like the strip mall area, but they don't have sidewalks, so they had similar concerns. So our goal is just to connect people. Since we're already in South Miami, the next logical place would be here, Coral Gables, so people have access to bicycles. I know it's a different concept. I was the marketing manager for Car2Go, and people didn't understand how to share a car and where the cars were going to end up. So it's kind of the market will, dictate little by little.
Mr. Murray, I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Your rate, is it $1 for 30 minutes?
No, it's $1 an hour.
$1 an hour?
Yeah.
So, because I did some research on all the
Oh, you
companies.
did? Okay.
Can the pilot program be a length of time of our choosing, or does it have to be 6 months?
It could be up to your choosing. We've seen that if it's 3 months, it doesn't give it enough time. So we have pilot programs, for instance, in Colorado that's been 6 months, others that are just a year. And the thing is, it's no risk. If it doesn't work for the city, the same way we deploy, we can leave. So it's there's no risk to the city except for getting those citizens to understand and like kind of finding the algorithm that works with everybody involved.
Now, if you don't have an iPhone, and
Mhm.
I know it's not a lot, but if you don't have an iPhone, are you able to still participate and,
Yes.
and rent this bike, and how is that done?
We just deployed that in North Carolina. We give them these coupons.
Mhm.
So we work either with a provider, we give them the coupon, and there's a code on the bike. So those coupons, they can just deposit cash
Mhm.
at our office. We give them a coupon, and they can use that code, and that code is valid for the amount of money that they put in for that coupon.
And would your company be open to sponsorships of bike programs?
Of course.
Bike safety programs?
Definitely. I'm actually very involved with the Coral Gables Greenway,
Mhm.
where SOMI has a bike
Mhm.
organization. We're trying to work with them. We're working with this South Miami Hospital. They're working with also with the Underline that just got funded at the city of Coral Gables, which I'm really excited about. So we want to offer bikes for certain bike rides, free bikes. People can ride for free. At least they have a bicycle to take.
Well, I'm thinking more of, because I personally am trying to bring the bike rodeo back to our elementary schools here in the city.
Okay.
So I was wondering if your company would be open to sponsoring such a bike rodeo for our
Definitely.
elementary schools.
Definitely, especially if it's for safety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Definitely. We want to be part of the community, not just, I mean, a bike is a bike is a bike. So I can't say my bike is yellow and it has, bells, and it's a bike, but it's really the relationship that goes behind it. So, and that's why I came, the funny story is that I came here at 7:30 this morning. Because I
Oh
thought
my
it was
God.
at 7:30 because I was so eager
Poor
to come. I was born and raised here, so I'm not in West Miami, but I'm a Hialeah Miami Lakes person. So I understand how the city might get a little concerned about people's safety, having end up in Commissioner Blanes' house. So we have people call us. They have our direct line, and we go and pick up the bikes if it does end up at their house.
Where is your warehouse based out of? Like, where do the bikes come from?
So we have two. One of the warehouses are the ones that receive the bicycles and go through a QC process.
Mhm.
And then we have a storage facility where we pick up the bikes. So they're both in Doral.
In Doral?
Yeah. We don't really use, we've only deployed 50 bikes in South Miami. So we really don't get the bikes. We've just been putting bikes there and then refurbishing the ones that are broken. We haven't had a lot of broken bikes, though. And we luckily haven't had a lot of accidents.
Thank God.
So thank you so much. I didn't expect to speak. I just wanted to hear. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
No,
Well,
City
Commissioner
thank-
Blanes have questions.
I just have one question. I just have one question.
Only one?
So don't blame me for anything. I just have one question.
All right.
Well, I have a comment, if I may. Okay. Oh, I
Let's
thought
go
he
with
had he asked his question already.
I don't have a question.
He doesn't have a
now.
question.
Oh, you don't have a
It
question.
was
Go ahead.
answered.
My comment is, I love the program. I did a lot of research on all the companies online, because all your information is available online.
Mhm.
And I love the program, and but I do understand the manager's concerns.
Of course.
And I'm hoping if we do decide to wait, that we do revisit it, because I would love to see the program come here. I'm huge on bicycling and being outdoors, and
Yeah.
I believe it's a great concept and a great program, so.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so, any other questions? Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
The manager has a recommendation, so do we agree with the manager's recommendation, or do you want to see this further?
Yes, I did, and it's inclusive of your memo. If
in the
you
memo.
want to hear it,
And tell me your recommendation. I'm sorry, Mayor.
To the memo.
my recommendation is that we hold off a few months, and I want to say 3 or 4 months, just so that we can hear what the experience from other communities is with the bike program. And I'm not saying or suggesting, I'm actually excited about the program, but it's too new. I believe that we are not ready yet to embrace it, and I think that we shouldn't be a guinea pig. That I believe that we should allow other municipalities to, launch it, and so that we can have our police department, who has already reached out to the chief at South Miami, Chief Landa, and his response to the deputy chief was, the program is too new, but he has expressed some concerns. So I say we wait a few months 3-4 months, and we revisit the issue early spring. And if there's a desire for it, if things change, or if we have some real positive recommendations from our neighboring cities, and if the city of Coral Gables approves it, then I say we take a next step into looking at the program.
Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
next item. Thank
Your
you.
presentation was very nice, especially Commissioner Blanes is now
Satisfied.
with the correct
Use my house as
information,
a base.
with all information. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
gentlemen, it's almost 10 o'clock and we have more items in the
Item
agenda.
11E, discussion and recommendation on the life insurance costs for elected and appointed city officials, department directors, and recommendations for new hires starting February 1st, 2018 by city manager.
Mayor, I would like to withdraw this item for now. I think we have enough on our plate, and I don't want to enter into something that is gonna deviate from other missions that we have right now.
Okay.
So we will revisit this item as we start to deliberate for next budget year, sometime in the spring.
Okay,
Next
Next
item,
item.
yes, item 11F, resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami authorizing the city manager the expenditure of $24,390 in connection with the replacement of pipes at lift station number 4 with the new pumps previously approved payable to Ferguson Water Works, providing for funding contemplated in the 2017-18 budget year, providing for effective date. Mayor and City Commission.
Mr. Mayor, I'll stop being Cruella for a moment, and I'll let Mr. Penna take over.
Mr.
I'm
Penna,
sorry.
you want to spend more money?
Well, actually, Mr. Mayor, the commitment that we have on the CMOM project is 150,000. So I think we're still on the budget there.
Okay, so you're only asking for 24?
24, we've already
Out of
spent
100.
74 on purchasing the new pumps. This is the piping for the new pumps, so that is what the request is for.
Lift Station 4 is the one at the recreation center.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's the oldest lift
The
station we
oldest.
have that hasn't been refurbished.
Okay. And this is in compliance with?
The DERM requirements
DERM
for
requirements.
maintenance on lift stations and
Okay.
the federal consent decree.
Does anybody have any question for Mr. Penna?
Yeah, what is he kind of asking for money every single meeting? That's my question. Every single meeting he's asking for money.
That's my job.
Thank you.
But he's got a good reason. It's all about service. Okay,
Thank you for your honesty, sir.
need a motion.
Second.
Okay, I was, can you call the vote, please?
Yes. Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca? Mayor Mujina?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Next item.
Next item, 11G, resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami authorizing the city manager to execute an interlocal agreement between the city of West Miami and the office of the state attorney for the prosecution of ordinance violations for the period October 1st, 2017 through September 30th, 2018, providing for effective date, providing for transmittal, mayor and city commission.
Mr. Mayor, this is Article 5 basically provides for a mechanism for the state attorney's office to be able to prosecute certain crimes that don't rise to the level of felonies, but there are minor crimes which are punishable by law. In order for the state attorney's office to have the green light to prosecute these, we have to have an interlocal agreement. It's good for 1 year, so you probably recall this item coming to you on different occasions. It would be an agreement for 1 year to allow the state attorney's office to prosecute minor offenses.
Which is something that is customary.
We've been doing it since Article 5 came into play, since it was enacted into law.
Okay, I have a motion. I need a
Second.
Okay. Call the vote?
Yes, Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca? Mayor Mujina?
Yes.
5-0, item passes. Next item, item 11H, request for recommendation to to the police department for the fine display of police work which led to the arrest of 2 suspects on November 21st, 2017 by Vice Mayor Blanca.
Vice Mayor.
Yes, sir. During the later part of November and the first week in December, officers of the West Miami Police Department has made several very impressive and important arrests. It is with great honor and appreciation that I invite Chief Andrew to the podium to explain to us what our officers have done.
Chief.
Good evening, and I won't ask for money.
No, that's Mr. Penna's job.
Okay.
Yep.
November 17th, at around 11 o'clock in the morning at 62 Avenue and 18th Street, Officer Manny Bello, we all know him well, observed someone that just didn't look right. He parked about a block away, started watching him with his binoculars. He didn't want to be spotted, so he called Detective Paz in his unmarked car. And lo and behold, within just a few minutes, Detective Paz observed this individual go into a property to the porch, take sneakers and a bicycle, and pedal along the way. He was arrested and without further incident. Again, active patrols by Officer Bello. On November 21st at around 9 a.m., responding to a citizen's observations of, again, something that just didn't look right, Officer Diaz rode to 62 Avenue and 14th Street and observed a white SUV with subjects inside that were crouched down, appearing to conceal themselves so that the officer wouldn't spot them. Turning on his emergency lights and equipment, they took off. A chase ensued. The vehicle tag was run as the chase was going, and it was discovered that it had been stolen in South Miami just a few days before. A chase went on for 15 minutes, and 15 minutes as far as a police chase is concerned in the city, or in city streets, is a long time. No one was injured, fortunately. Our 2 police cars sustained very minor damage when they were rammed by these individuals as they tried to get away. They were ultimately apprehended after they crashed into a fence and took off on foot. And subsequent investigation showed that these subjects had been involved in several other residential burglaries. West Miami, South Miami, Coral Gables, Miami, and Miami-Dade County, probably 11 other cases. So it was a good catch. They were both 17 years old. One had already been adjudicated as an adult, so he was ultimately charged as an adult. Not only did these officers take 2 criminals off the street and cleared many cases, again, it's important to note that no one was injured. And this incident brings to life the importance of our citizens calling the police whenever they see anything suspicious. December 1st at approximately 1:20 in the morning, Sergeant Myrna Lopez and Officer Carlos Evora responded to, again, another suspicious incident call. Again, the subjects were attempting to conceal themselves inside their vehicle. They attempted to flee when they saw the police vehicle, and he was subsequently stopped, and Officer Evora observed 2 airbags inside the car. Very, very problematic crime we're having now with these airbags, especially with Hondas. Countywide, weeks ago there were like 60 cars that were taken in a couple of districts in the county, 60 airbags from cars. They were detained. Subsequent investigation revealed that these 3 subjects had entered or attempted to enter 7 different vehicles in West Miami and were able to remove the airbags from 2 of them. Airbags were recovered and returned to the owners. This information was provided to our neighboring police agencies as well as to a task force that has been formed and is being spearheaded by FDLE, which brings to light the importance and the severity of these problems. And again, while I'm here and Captain Delgado and Deputy Chief Avila, the great police work was done by the men and women of your police department that dedicate themselves to keeping our city safe. The accolades and commendations are due to these officers for their outstanding police work and dedication to duty. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that Captain Delgado actually chased down and caught one of the bad guys himself. Almost died, but he was able to actually put the cuffs on him himself. And Deputy Chief Avila pulled his hamstring, but that's okay. That's to be
Part of the
expected.
job.
Part of the job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you,
Thank
Jeff.
you, thank you.
Okay, at this time, I invite the mayor and my college to sign a letter to all the officers involved with this impressive arrest, commending them for a job very well done in keeping our city safe.
Thank you very much.
Motion.
Agree.
Excellent.
Motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Great job.
Congratulations. We will
Uh,
prepare the letter for your signatures.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item I, request for permission to close City Hall on Friday, December 22nd, 2017, and on Friday, December 29th, 2017, by City Manager.
Madam Manager.
Thank you. I think we owe it to our labor force to give them a couple of days off during the holidays. And obviously, because it is not permitted under the personnel rules and regulations, we come to you for authorization. Those days are really very slow here in terms of transactions, and obviously this would be for non-essential personnel or departments. The police department will remain open, the dispatch will remain open. Obviously, there would be trash collection, trash and garbage collection as customary, but we'd like to give the employees that long weekend. We are closed officially on Monday, December 26th, and Monday, January 1st, 2018. So that'll give them a 4-day weekend.
Wait. Monday, December 26th, are we collecting garbage or not? The men have no opposition to it because they're off on the 25th.
I would say we should collect garbage,
Okay.
especially right after Christmas, which falls on a Sunday. The street is gonna be very congested with boxes from Amazon and toy boxes and everything. So if you have no objections, and I think we should keep the city clean.
Okay.
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 All right.
Go to the order.
Yeah, Mayor, I want to talk about something that a couple of meetings ago. And I think, we have a bilingual county. About 25 years ago, was approved to speaking English and Spanish in this county. It's official. And I want to talk in Spanish because I think sometimes Commissioner Ronda Rodriguez do not understand me in English. So yo voy a hablar español para que me entienda bien y no haya duda en esto. Cuando se puso en el budget el dinero de training, ese dinero era no para los oficiales electos. Ese dinero era sobre todo cuando tenemos gastos, por ejemplo, sobre todo en el agua potable. Que si hay que Juan Pena tiene que ir a algún viaje, tiene que ir a alguna cosa.
Okay, let me stop you. I understand, but I think it's not fair to Commissioner Ronda, although I know you domain the Spanish.
Let me
but-
interrupt you if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor. It matters none to me, but what it's not proper is for our residents who are listening. So if Commissioner Suarez
I want to
prefers
be
to speak in
clear.
Spanish, I do believe we should have a translator translating for our residents who don't speak Spanish, so they can be a part of and understand our meetings. I have no problem with it.
Well, let me say in English.
No,
if-
let
if
me
you-
clarify with you.
let me-
I never said I never understood your English.
It's my
So,
appreciation.
don't put words in my mouth. I've
No,
never
it's
said
my
I don't
appreciation.
understand.
No.
Well,
I have
okay,
to
your
clarify-
perception,
Can I-
not my understanding.
Can I stop both of you right now? Okay? This is the end of the year. This
Yeah,
is
yes,
December.
yeah, that's why I want to clarify, because I've been waiting for 3 meetings. I want to clarify this.
I think your timing is totally off,
I had to
Commissioner
clarify this.
Commissioner Suarez.
No, you have to open the table to clarify things.
This is good of the
Because-
order. Why,
because,
this is,
no,
why are we
We are
discussing?
not in Commissioner Santana's time with the problems.
What?
We have
Wait,
been
wait,
moved-
What does that have to do with
Listen.
anything?
Yeah, because we have to have a
I'm the
clear-
chair, and I'm stopping this right now. Motion to adjourn.
I do have something for the good of the order, and it's good. This is good.
Go right ahead, sir.
Commissioner Suarez,
this
please,
is- this is-
you know,
this-
if you have,
Go ahead.
bring it next time. This is December. This is the end of the year. This is the last meeting. We're talking about 10 o'clock.
Well, this is good. It's
Well,
not-
this is
it's-
good too. I just want to clarify.
Okay.
I don't think it's good. I don't think it's going in the right direction.
So let me know.
It's right for
As a
me.
matter of fact, I'm sorry. I'm gonna speak right now. I'm the mayor. I'm gonna speak. One of the things that I was gonna talk about, we had a wonderful year.
We do.
And I was gonna, no, wait, hold on. And I was gonna challenge you, all of you sitting on this table, to have a better year next year. So let's stay positive. Let's put aside our differences, and let's bring that item next year. Let's finish here on a good note.
Can I?
Commissioner Blanes.
Okay, this is good and this is positive. And this is something that I've been wanting to bring up. And I think it's something that we should all be very proud of. Not long ago, unfortunately, the ex-Dade County manager, Sergio Pereira, passed away. And he was the first Cuban Latin city manager, Dade County manager. So, I don't know if you all know, but our city manager is the first woman Cuban city manager, Latin city manager here in Dade County.
In the country.
In the country. In the country? Well,
Wow.
I'm glad I spoke out then. So with that said, I think that, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I want to let you take over and maybe we can do something for our city manager.
You started, so you finish
Well,
it.
I mean, I didn't know it was the country. Now I was just thinking it was Dade County. Now I'm really thinking
What are you thinking?
what we can do. I mean, I don't know, a plaque, I don't know,
I
a raise,
A portrait, no cigar,
give her-
please.
give her less work. I don't
A
know, maybe
raise?
more work. A parade. I don't know. I mean, let's think about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's think about it.
It's a great, that's
I
a
think we should have a press conference.
I-
I think we- I
Great,
think-
great
I think
ideas.
with that-
Great
we need-
ideas.
we
Thank
need
you.
to- we
Thank
need
you
to
very
invi-
much.
We need to invite the media. I think that we need to make this known.
Absolutely.
And she's also won city manager of the year here. In Dade County. I think two times, 3 times.
In Miami, the Police Benevolent Association has
The Police
awarded
Benevolent
me,
Association.
and I've been recognized by the mayor and commission for the Mayor's Award for Excellence.
Well, I did not know that, and now I just learned something new, that it's in the country, so.
Excellent. Excellent.
So
Okay.
let's think about what we can do.
Like I mentioned before, we had a great year. I think we have our differences, but we always do what is good for the city of West Miami. And keep that in mind, especially this time, be together with the family, share life that is so beautiful. And I'm gonna cry here.
I want to
Listen. Basically, I want to challenge this commission to do better next year.
And I want to thank Commissioner Suarez for giving flavor to the soup, because if it wasn't for him, there'd be no flavor.
Yeah, but I
It would
don't
be
want.
very bland. So you know what? Thank you, Commissioner.
Because the mayor wants to go to have a party pending now. Waiting for him.
No, actually, I wanted to
They're
go
waiting
see
for him.
Mr. Quintana that is in the hospital. That's what I wanted to see. And I think it's a little late already for him. But that was my plan. My plan was to go see Mr. Quintana at the hospital. So, but nevertheless,
Good night.
motion to
May-
adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Yes,
Aye.
Madam Manager.
I'm so sorry. I think we should recognize our police chief as well. This evening, he graduates with a
Yes.
doctorate's degree on this coming Saturday in education and human resources leadership. I have to tell you that Chief Andrew has brought the department and has been a mentor. We have got a department that was, and I don't want to say lacking education, but there was a certain mood of relaxation. Most of our officers have enrolled and are continuing their education in an institution of their choice. And that's raising the bar on the quality of professional law enforcement that we provide to the residents of the city of West Miami. And I think that that is because of the leadership that we have in this department. So I want to personally and professionally congratulate you, Nelson. You've
Congratulations,
really
sir.
set the bar for this department, and you've really set the tone for the future of this department.
And
You've really changed things here for the better.
In addition, I don't know that there's any other chief of police in the United States of America that has a doctorate degree, so from now on, you have to address him as
Dr.
doctor.
Chief.
Is it
Dr.
So
Chief.
so it's a
Dr. Chief.
chief doctor or Dr.
See?
Chief? Dr. Chief,
Let
I
me
like
tell
Dr.
you,
Chief
it's so
better.
important. I was thinking to take a picture with him tonight, but he's too elegant for a picture.
Nice
For me,
try.
I am not elegant enough for him. I have to go and change to take a picture with him.
All right.
And you can
Well,
do the picture in English or Spanish.
Good night, and
You can do the
happy
picture in either
holidays.
English or Spanish, your choice.
No, but next thing I have to clarify in Spanish with you.